Hey YouTube, what's up? Happy New Year, happy 2020. Maybe you've seen my video some time ago about the new WPL winch for the C34 crawler or trail truck. And shortly after this winch had been released, a further winch for those small WPL, MN, JJRC trucks has been released by a company called RBRC. They meanwhile do quite a lot of parts and upgrades for the 1 to 12 to 1 to 16 trucks. And I received this today, and we will check how it does compared to the original WPL C34 winch. In my video I gave some misinformation about this winch. I told you guys there is no possibility to mount the winch to the C34, and well, that's true and not true. In my C34 I do use the upgraded metal front bumpers, and it's not possible to mount this winch, at least without modifications to this truck. But if you use the original bumper, that's the original bumper, the plastic bumper, it's very easy. That's the original bumper. It's very easy to mount the winch. You even don't have to use screws or anything. You simply clip it in that way and mount this to the frame, and the winch is mounted perfectly. Not super strong. Works nicely, but I don't see big advantage in this because it only works with the C34 bumpers and the plastic bumpers, and it does not work with the metal upgrade bumpers. However, we know this winch works nicely, and let's see how the new winch by RBRC works. So that's how it comes, nicely packed in a small plastic box. Further plastic bag. And that's inside. Some hardware, screws, some more screws, a hook, and this hook, that's made out of metal. That's a difference. The hook of the WPL original winch is made out of plastic. Anyway, it's black. I prefer black, and the size, that's one of those usual hooks we get with all of those upgrade or scale parts. They are, in my opinion, a little bit too large for those trucks. Metal case, small gear motor with a different gear than the WPL motor has. You know, it sits that way and the gear is here. So further metal parts, a little bit of rope, JSDPH 2mm plug, you know, that's the MCPX plug, or many drones use those plugs, very popular. Well, let's try to assemble it. There is no manual at all coming with the winch. I hope I will be able to build it without manual. Shouldn't be too difficult, but at least a picture would have been nice. Well, no manual at all. That's that's quite a bummer now. Okay guys, I will check the internet and check the website. Maybe there's a manual. Okay guys, that's quite a bummer. I checked the Banggood website and there isn't even a picture of the assembled winch. So, and of course there is no manual and nothing, so that's quite a bit of a bummer. I will assemble the winch now. I have to think how it should be mounted, and I don't want to bore you with this assembling and trial and error, and I will stop broadcasting now, and I will show you the winch when I finally hopefully succeeded to assemble it. Hey Banggood or RBRC, how can you deliver such parts without any manual or at least a picture how it should look like? That's crazy. Okay guys, finally I managed to assemble it loosely, and will disassemble it again to show you how this probably is intended to be mounted or assembled, because without manual. Okay, I'll disassemble it and show you the steps to do it. So, disassembled again, and now I will give a step-to-step advice how to mount or to assemble this winch. So what do we see here? We see those two side parts. They are, you could think they are mirrored, but that's not totally true. Take a look. One has smaller holes here inside and the other one larger ones. So that's the part the motor has been mounted from outside. And inside of those you will use on the outer holes those tubes with 3 long screws and nuts to make it like you do it here. But it's a mistake to start with those tubes and long screws, because you will have to mount the motor first. So mount the motor here, and then you see this small part. This small part is mentioned to sit here. See, there are the openings for the 2 tiny screws. Those are the 2 tiny screws to mount the motor. But to fix the motor, unfortunately, they are weak out of aluminium, so non-magnetic. And that's the part with the rope. Sorry, I don't know the English word for this. And you have to press it on and press it all in. And then there is a grub screw. You will need a 1.5 millimeter hex wrench to mount the grub screw to secure it. And on the outer side it will run, no bearing at all, that way, and be fixed only by those 3 rods. And I highly recommend to use blue Loctite. That's the cheap one from Hobby King, but it works fine to mount all those screws. So I hope I could explain it a little bit, and we'll start with my assembly. So use Loctite here, but since those are not magnetic, I'll have to find a toothpick to put a little bit of Loctite inside the threads. And let's speed this up now. I don't want to bore you, and I will show you how I assemble the winch. After assembling the motor, I found those holes on the outer plate of the winch cage are to insert a small screwdriver, so you can unmount and mount the motor if this main part of the winch is already assembled, but you'll have to remove the rope from the winch. So finally finished. The video broke up during my assembly, during my soldering, but that's not that important. Of course I didn't want to solder, to use those very unflexible cheap wires, so I soldered a JST plug and silicone wires to the motor. Now I will have to change this anyway, using wires of correct length after knowing in which car and how to mount it. Of course I used a female, I know technically it's a male, but you know, plug, and not a male, as I did wrong in the beginning. And yeah, that's how it looks like. This metal housing seems to be only clipped onto the winch. Yeah, doesn't look that bad. That's the WPL original winch. That's the RBRC winch. And how to mount it? There are two locations to mount it with screws, but I wonder how they think we will mount those screws if the motor is attached to the winch. So what do they think? We will have to first mount only this to the correct location and then mount the motor. But however, the metal bumper, front bumper for the C34, as I already told you when I showed it to you, does have two screw holes, and it seems that this winch can easily be mounted to the metal bumper. Of course you have to switch the metal bumper 180 degrees, but so that's a perfect fit. Doesn't look that bad, I think. Of course with the beautiful, that's awesome. You can bend it, and maybe you can use a little bit of sugar or whatever to fix it. So that's the way it would sit, and that's the way the original winch, WPL winch, would sit, will sit, but only inside of the plastic bumper. Come on, don't break in front of camera now. So check it out, guys. What do you think looks better? I think they are both okay. The RBRC winch will stick out a little bit in front of the bumper. And now let's test the winch, how it does work. Therefore, if you've seen the video of this winch, you know that with the speed controller powering the winch as winch controller, it had a little bit more power, but it's more difficult because you need a power source, so you need to connect this speed controller to the battery also. And then there is this weeny tiny little speed controller powered by ESCs, and I think it's perfectly adapted for this. So you do not need a power source, you will only plug it into your receiver, and if you have a ESC with a strong BSC, like for example this hovering quick run 1080, you can power it easily that way, and that's how I will test the winch now. So channel 1, 2, 3, 4, put it in channel 4, and what a mess. So now my test setup, and let's power the receiver. No, not the receiver. Yeah, let's power the receiver and ESC. I have it on channel 4, and it works nicely. No, it does not work nicely. Do you hear it? I guess it should be sanded a little bit here. This connection was not very loose. Oh my god. What's the problem? Maybe it should be a little bit looser here. Maybe I made it too firm. Come on. Yeah, but yes, that was the reason. So you shouldn't mount those screws and those nuts too firmly, to press too firmly, otherwise the winch will have to work too hard. Still a little bit. And I guess we should make, come on, what's the problem here now? Does its job. And let's make a short pull test to see how it does compared to the WPL plastic winch. I will only make a pull test with this tiny speed controller powered by ESC, so it will be a little bit weaker, but anyway we can compare it. So let's see how it does. Oh, well, I didn't make a knot good enough. So let's see how it does. Wrong button. 1.9 kilogram and stops very fast. So let's try it again. I try to not squeeze it. Up. So let's try again. Okay, 1.8, 1.9 kilogram. Third try, I tried to keep it only here in front and not to squeeze it. Yeah, same, 1.6, 1.7. Okay, not bad. Probably it would be a little bit stronger with the other ESC, and I can't remember how much the original WPL winch made. Oh, wrong direction. It's much slower. Do you see this? I think that's nicer. much slower than the RBRC winch. And okay, let's hook it up here. So 0. It doesn't make 1.3456789 2.5. No, sir. So stop, wrong direction. So let's try it again. Why did the scale stop now? Stupid me. Scale needs 0, so now again. 2.3 kilograms. So the original WPL winch seems to be much stronger, and really much stronger than the RBRC winch. Second test with the RBRC winch. I don't want to be unfair. Yes, that's the metal bracket of the winch, and the winch is here. Maybe it will do better with metal bracket. No, I'm only joking. But yeah, the hook has to be changed, however. Yeah, the hook has to be changed. So 0, and it does stop 1.5 kilograms. Last test 1.8, 1.9 stops. Okay guys, that's it. This was my test. So wrong direction, and I have a mess with the rope too now. We don't need this anymore. So, final conclusion. Well, check it out. It's totally awkward already. No, it has been bent. It has been bent here, probably because I pushed it too hard. Well, maybe it is out of metal and looks a little bit better, and is a little bit smaller than the WPL winch, which has been mounted that way. But oh god, check this out. What a mess. There's a rope inside here. It would be highly recommended to mount it also here. Those 3 screws are probably not enough, as you have seen. The rope or the axle here slipped out of the mount. But if I fix the screws harder, it does really hard. The motor does really hard. I don't know, guys, what do you think? let's what's the problem here? I do already have a total mess with the rope. So now, oh, the rope is already broken, and here it is a part of the rope. So, okay. What do you guys think about stuff like this? Sold without instructions how to mount it. And I have to say, yeah, if it struggles hard, this has to be inserted here. But there is no bearing or pushing or whatever, and it seems that's already bent. So now it's inserted again, and of course you should you should mount those screws really firmly to be able to what? Yeah, to fix this spindle firmly too. So you see it's already bent here. Oh my god. So it what can we do? Of course we can do something. Maybe I will there is no room for a further screw. You will need an axle here too. So for sure, check this out. It's already bent here, and it's not all. Is it already broken? No, it's. Yes, it's already broken. Check this out. There is already start of a break. It's not totally broken. I don't know if you can see it through the loop. What review should I give? Well, if it's mounted firmly with screws inside here and here, this cannot happen. So you should probably mount it with screws on the inside, or make an axle or a bracket that keeps it closed here. But if not, and if you push it a little bit harder, it will bend here. And anyway, it only pulled 1.5 kilograms, and this guy pulled twice as much. So my first video in 2020, guys. You know what you'll have to do. If you like it because of the look, and if you do not need such a lot of force for, then buy it. But okay, I have to fix those, to mount those screws firmly again. One, two, three. And if I would mount them really firmly now, so then the motor would do so hard again. Oh, see it! The motor doesn't even spin anymore. Oh, what a piece of... So, Why do they sell this anyway? Because we buy it. Okay guys, that's it. I'm angry now. How can they sell this? Thanks for watching. It looks nice, it's metal, but it's a totally piece of beep. Ciao, see you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll be back.